Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sambuddhassa. So good morning, everyone. So today we are going to start a quite long sutta, which is called Suppavāsāsuttaṃ, telling about the birth of one of our great disciples and his mother, what sort of experiences they had while giving birth to them, and then during the donation, what the discussion with the Buddha, and also what the Buddha taught about what she considered. Yeah, it's a very nice sutta, giving some insight about our lives. Yeah. It's quite hello.
Yes, we lost you for a little bit there, Bhante.
There's some little bit of weakness in the Wi-Fi. Maybe I hope it will be okay today. I don't know. From today morning we start. Yeah. Anyone willing to translate this? Just a few. Hello. Hi. Hello. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Bhante, but it's a little bit breaking. But we can hear you, Bhante.
So, Dr. Rai, can you do the translation?
Okay, Bhante. So we're gonna do paragraph by paragraph, Bhante?
Or maybe 2 or 3 paragraphs together. It's no problem because it's
okay,
long.
Bhante. Yes, okay, Bhante.
Okay.
เอวังเมสุตังเอกังสมยังปะกวากุณฑิกายังวิหารติกุณฑดานวันเน So thus I have heard one time the Blessed One was dwelling in the forest near the Golian village of Kundiya. Tena ko panak samayena supawasa Goliya dita satta wassani gapang dareti. At the time, Suppavāsā, the daughter of Goliya, was carrying the womb for 7 years. Sattahang mulhagappa sadukhahi dippahi karahi tatukkahi vedanahi futtha tihi vitakkehi adivaseti. She who was difficult to be delivered for 7 days, who was affected with sharp, severe, painful, suffering feelings, giving with 3 thoughts. Samasambuddho watasso bhagavā yo imassa eva rupassa dukkhassa pahanaya dhammang deseti. That blessed one who preaches the Dhamma for the eradication of this such suffering is indeed a fully self-enlightened Buddha.
I'm sorry, again connection. Okay. Can you hear me? Oh, sorry for that. Suddenly dropped.
Yes. Okay, Bhante. So I'll continue. Yeah.
Sama sambuddho.
Yeah. Sama sambuddho watasso bhagawa yo imassa eva rupassa dukkhassa pahanaya dhammang deseti. That blessed one who preaches the Dhamma for the eradication of this such suffering is indeed a fully self-enlightened Buddha. Supatipanno watatassa bhagavato sawakasangho yo imassa eva rupassa dukkhassa pahanaya patipanno. The order of disciples of that blessed one who has entered the path for the eradication of this such suffering has indeed entered upon the path well. Susukang watatang nippanang yattidang ewarupang dukkang na sangvichatiti. That nibbana, where the suffering does not exist, there is indeed extremely happiness. Atako supavasa kuliya dita samikang amantesi. Then Suppavāsā, the daughter of Pāḷi, addressed the husband. Ehi tuang ayaputta yena bhagavati upasangkami toa mama wachane na bhagavato bade sirasa wandahi. The son of the master, may you come. Please approach the blessed one. After having approached, please pay homage with your head at the Buddha's feet with my words. Apa badang, apa tangkang, lahuktanang palang, fasuviharang bukja. Please ask if he is with less affliction, with less sickness, strong and with comfortable living. Suppavāsā Bhante Pāḷi dita bhagavato bades sirasa watati. Bhante Suppavāsā, the daughter of Pāḷi, pays homage with her head at the blessed one's feet. Apa badang apa tangkang lahuktanang balang fa suviharang bukjatiti. She asked if you are with less affliction, with less sickness, strong, and with comfortable living. Ewancha wadehi Suppavāsā Bhante Pāḷi dita satta wasani gapang dareti. And say thus, Suppavāsā, the daughter of Pāḷi, is carrying the womb for 7 years. Sattahang mulha gappa sadukhahi tippahi karahi katukahi vedanahi futtha tihi vitakehi adiwaseti. That she who was difficult to be delivered for 7 days, who was affected with sharp, severe, painful, suffering feelings, given with 3 thoughts. Sama sambuddho wata so bhagava yo imassa eva rupassa dukkhassa pahanaya dhammang deseti. That blessed one who preaches the Dhamma for the eradication of this such suffering is indeed a fully self-enlightened Buddha. Supatipanno wata tassa bhagavato sawakasangho yo imassa eva rupassa dukkhassa pahanaya patipanno. The order of the disciples of that blessed one who have entered the path for the eradication of this such suffering has indeed entered upon the path well. Susukang watatang nippanang yatidang eva rupang dukkhang nasang vijjatiti. That nibbana, where the suffering does not exist, there is indeed extremely happiness. Should I continue, Bhante? Okay. Paramanti ko so kuliya puto Suppavāsāya Pāḷi ditaya Patisutta yena Bhagavati Rupasangami, having asserted excellence to Suppavāsā, the daughter of Koliya, that son of Koliya approached the Blessed One. Upasangkamito Bhagavantang Apiwadeto Ekamantang Nisidi, having approached, having paid respect to the Blessed One, he sat on one side. Ekamantang Nisino Ko Kuliya Pukto Bhagavantang Etadavoja, the son of Koliya who sat on one side, said this to the Blessed One. Suppavāsāsuttaṃ Bhante Kuliya Dita Bhagavato Bade Sirasa Vandeti. Bhante Suppavāsā, the daughter of Koliya, pays homage with her head at the Blessed One's feet. Abadang apatangkang lahukhanang pala fa suviharang ukjati. She asked, if you are with less affliction, with less sickness, strong and with comfortable living. Evanja vadeti Suppavāsā Bhante Koliya Dita Sattavasani Gappang Dareti, and says thus, Suppavāsā, the daughter of Koliya, is carrying the womb for 7 years. Satahang mulha gappa sadukhahi tipahi karahi katukahi vedanahi futa tihi vitakehi adivaseti. She who was difficult to be delivered for 7 days, who was affected with sharp, severe, painful, suffering feelings, gave in with 3 thoughts. Samasambukto Wataso Bhagava Yo Imasa Aru Awaru Rupasa Dukkasa Pahana Yadamang Deseti. That Blessed One who preaches the Dhamma for the eradication of this such suffering is indeed a fully self-enlightened Buddha. Supatipanno Watatasa Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho Yo Imasa Eva Rupasa Dukkasa Pahana Yabatipanno. The order of the disciples of that Blessed One who has entered the path with the eradication of this such suffering have indeed entered upon the path well. Susukang watanipanang yatidang ewarupang dukkang nasang vichatiti. That nibbana where this suffering does not exist there is indeed extremely happiness.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nicely translated. Okay, so now with the future sutta. Again, the connection dropped. Okay. So in the suttas to come will be also quite long like this, some of the suttas. So everyone please get ready to translate. Very good if you can translate long suttas, it means you get the confidence, gain the confidence more and more in reading Pāli. So we'll go into some special points, few points to be mentioned here. Eva me sutang ekan samayam bhagava kundikayang viharati kundadhana vane. So he was living close to the city called Kundika, and there was a monastery which was called the Kundadhana Vana. Actually, that vana, the forest, was first lived by a certain demon who accepted certain sacrifices made by people, and he liked to have the humans with certain kundadana, like certain jewelry. So therefore he was that that forest was called Kundadhanavana. Later on, that monastery was also called in the same name. Buddha was living there. The Kolians built a monastery to him. Tenakopana samayena Suppavāsā Koliya Dhita Sattavasani Gabbandhariti. So that time, there were Tenakopana samayena, time, instrumental of time. Suppavāsā Koliya Dhita, this daughter of Kolians. It means she was a princess. Princess of the Kolian clan. Her name was Suppavāsā. Sattavasani Gabbandhariti. So the verb is dhariti. What she holds is, carries gabba, a womb, embroy. Her womb means normally a woman would carry a womb in her body normally, but this is Gabba here means with the fetus. A boy or a child has already she's been conceived by a child. So therefore, this Gabba refers to normally with a child. So for 7 years continuously, Satta Vassani Gabban Dharati. So this is accusative case. So if you remember in the beginning, in the first lectures, we discussed that if something, a certain action happens continuously without any break, that time or the length should be written in accusative case. So Satta Vassani, 7 years continuously, she was carrying this child in her womb. Sattahang, Satta Ahang, this is Satta is one, Aha is one. So 7 days. Sattahang Mula Gabba. So Mula Gabba sa Dukkahi, Tibbahi, Karahi, Katukahi, Vedanahi, Putta, Tihi Vitakkehi, Adivasiti. Samma Sambuddha Vataso Bhagavan, so forth. Yeah. So now if you look into this sentence, Sattahang 7 days for 7 days. These are also written in accusative case, right? But it was written in singular form because it's a Digu Samasa. We call it a Digu Samasa. Digu Samasa means some samasa connected with numbers, like Eko, if you say Dve Purisa, Tilokang, 3 worlds, 2 humans, 2 men. So likewise 7 days. So normally when a samasa is made with a number in the beginning, we call it Digu Samasa. Digu, D-I-G-U. Most of you know already. Digu. So Digu Samasa can be written in, sometimes it is written in neuter gender singular form. Meaning should be taken as, normally the idea is this is collectively, the 7 days were collectively taken. But I'm not sure whether that specific collective idea is found in every singular Digu Samasa. That's how anyway they say. So Sattahang, so is also in a written accusative case. Because she was continuously having this kind of suffering. So what was the suffering? So verb was, if you analyze this sentence, now grammatically, this is the subject, sa, aseti, bears, or tolerates, we can call, adivaseti. So normally, when we tolerate something, the object should be written. But here you can see there is no, this is accusative of time, continuous time. So otherwise there is no object here. Dukkahi, Tibbahi, Karahi, Vedanahi, Katukahi, Vedanahi, Putta, Tihi Vitakkehi Adivasiti. So what she tolerates is not directly mentioned in this sentence. It's not mentioned in this sentence, but we can understand it that she was the suffering that was occurring due to the delivering. She was tolerating that suffering. So the commentary normally say uppannam dukkhang, the suffering that arose because of this incident. So object is not mentioned, but in that case we have to add it with the understanding. So this sa adives, she tolerates. What she tolerates is not mentioned. With what? With the help of what she tolerates. Tihi vitakkehi adivasiti. With the 3 thoughts, 3 types of thoughts. Tihi vitakkehi. We normally say initial application is vitakka. Here it's better to say as a thought, because collectively she was having some wholesome thoughts, so she could bear the suffering with 3 vitakka. So then, now if you look into this sentence, we can see verb is there and a past participle can be found, right? And then the subject and the these are the adjectives of the subject, Mula Gabba. So we find a past participle because the sentence divides based on the past participle. So this part belongs to the verb. Tihi vitakkehi adivaseti. She tolerates with 3 thoughts. Putta. This is also written in nominative singular, because she was a feminine lady, so it was written in feminine gender. So we normally know past participle other than the subject, if it, and also verb other than subject and the verb, if it is written in nominative case in the middle of a sentence, it can replace a gerund. It can also replace a gerund. And also it is the absolute. It can also be an absolute, nominative absolute. So if you take it as nominative absolute, after she was touched by such and such pains, if you take it as gerund, having touched by such and such, so and so. So anyway, so this refers to Suppavāsā, who was affected, who was touched by what? Vedanahi putta, who was touched by Vedana, suffering, the pain, the feeling, the sensation. So what kind of sensation? Whether it's blissful or suffering sensations. Katukahi, which were very rough. If you take them as a tibbahi, karahi, katukahi, which was sharp, which was gross, and also difficult to bear. So with these sufferings, she was pushed, she was touched, or she was afflicted, and also dukkahi, which are painful. So she was afflicted or touched by painful feelings, which are difficult to be, which are difficult to tolerate, and which are very rough and gross. So she was touched by such feelings, and she tolerated those pain with 3 types of thoughts. And she was also mentioned what happened to her during this Mulagabba. So she was called a Mulagabba. So Mulagabba, it's she was very suffering. She was struggling to deliver properly. So to get more clarity on this, we'll go to the commentary on the sutta. Yeah. So in this paragraph, you can say Tatta Satta Vassaniti Satta Sangvacharani. That was 7 years. Satta Vassa means. Achanta Sangyogecha Idang Upayoga Vachana. This also can be said as Achatta Sangyoga. It means the continuous time. Gabban Dharetiti Gabbang Vahati, carrying a womb with a child. Gabbini Hotiti Atto. She was pregnant. So although we can say for 7 years. Then Sattahang Mula Gabbati, what does it mean by for 7 days she was having a Mula Gabba? Sattahani, for 7 days, Vyakula Gabba. Vyakula means complicated. Akula, Vyakula. It was not properly happening. Gabba means, Vyakula Gabba means one who has a womb or a child or a fetus, which complications in delivering. Gabbohi paripakko sampajyamano vijayakale kammajavatehi sanchalitva parivattito uddapado adosiro hutva yoni mukhavimuko hoti. So the Gabba means the womb with the child. Paripakko, when it has come to the proper time, when it is ripened to deliver. Sampajyamano, it means when it is going to happen properly. Vipajyamana, you can see another word called Vipajyamana, when it is going to happen in not as it is expected, like not in a proper manner. So paripakko sampajyamano vijayana kale, during the delivering time, kammajavatehi sanchalitva, being moved by kammajavata. So this seems like something produced by Kammajarupa. It seems maybe this Kammajarupa, whether it belongs to the mother or the child, we have to search or think about that. It seems like the Kammajarupas belong to the child, because that's his or her birth. So it's time for her to or him to come out from the womb. Seems like it was the Kammajavata, it belongs to the child. Kammajavatehi sanchalitva, having shaken. Parivattito, having turned. These all refer to the Gabba. Uddapado adosiro hutva yoni mukhavimuko hoti. So the Gabba, the womb, is directed towards the delivering place, uh, having turned, how it turns, the head goes down, the legs go up, legs go up. So that is how normally a child is delivered from the mother, by the mother. So, but it was different for the Bodhisattva. In his case, his feet came first, later the head. But no, most of the cases, head goes first, and that's why normally doctor takes us from the head. Even so, kattachi alaggo bahi nikkamati. So in that manner, the child, without being stuck anywhere, comes out very easily, swiftly. Vipajjamano, but when if it happens in the other way, pana viparivattana vasena, not in like turning in a wrong manner, virupa vasena, turning in a wrong manner, not accordingly. Yoni maggam pidahitva tiriyan nipajjati. So the gabba turns horizontally, right? Vertically, horizontally, right? Horizontally, and then it covers or it blocks the delivering path. Pidahitva tiriyang nipajjati. Sayamema yoni maggo pida, or the delivering path would get closed by itself. So tatta kammajavatehi aparaparang vyakulo mulla gabbhuti uchati. So means that the womb, gabba, tatta, there in the mother's womb, kammajavatehi aparaparam parivattamano. It has been shaken by the kammajavata here and there. It was not happening properly. Vyakulo mulla gabbhuti uchati. So that time it is called complicated or a mulla gabba. Tassapi satta divase evang ahosi. So it happened to her also during 7 days. Tena uttang sattaha mulla gabba. So here, so in this Vyakulo Mula Gabba Uchati. Here Mula Gabba means the womb itself. The Gabba itself is Mula Gabba. But here Mula Gabba means the mother who bears a Mula Gabba. A complicated womb is called Mula Gabba. Here she was, for 7 days, she was having such a complicated womb, fetus. So she was also called Mula Gabba. So this shows that Bahubi Samasa. Now, word can be made in Kammadaraya, Mulho Gabbo, Mula Gabbo, and Mulho Gabbo Yassa. So, Sa Mula Gabba. So, normally the Kammadaraya Samasas can be brought into Bahubi Samasa. So, here, so means the Gabba. So, Tatta Kammajavatehi Aparaparang Parivattamano. Vyakulo Mula Gabbhoti Uchati. It is called a Mula Gabba. The womb is called Mula Gabba. Tassapi, of her also. Satta divase evang ahosi. So her womb was also thus for 7 days. Tassapi, genitive case. Satta divase evang ahosi. So her womb, satta tassapi gabbo satta divase evang ahosi. Her womb was also the same for 7 days. Tena buttang. Therefore it was said, sattahang mulla gabbati. She was called mulla gabba for 7 days. For 7 days. So then, before we go to the discussion, atako suppavasa koliyadita samikang amantesi. So before we go to the explanations of the thoughts, samma sambuddho mataso bhagava yo imassa varupassa dukkassa pahanaya dhammandesiti. So in this sentence, samma sambuddho vata so bhagava. So this is the main sentence. Samma Sambuddho Vata Sobhaga. Blessed One is indeed a Samma Sambuddha. So this is the actual, we want to say the Blessed One is Samma Sambuddha. So someone can ask, isn't it that Samma Sambuddha is a Blessed One? So we can have two thoughts about Samma Sambuddho Vata Sobhagava. So Samma Sambuddho Vata Sobhagava, someone can say, the Blessed One is indeed a Samma Sambuddha, or Samma Sambuddha is indeed a Blessed One. So if you go into the English order, this seems Samma Sambuddha is the Blessed One. No, actually, the meaning is, what they want to say is, Samma Sambuddho Vataso Bhagava means the Blessed One himself is indeed the Samma Sambuddha. Right? Samma Sambuddha. So the order should be different from how we read it in English. So then it explains this Blessed One. Who is this Blessed One? Yo imassa eva rupassa dukkassa pahanaya dhamman deseti. Who who preaches dhamma, yo deseti, preaches what? Dhamman deseti. For what? Pahanaya, for the eradication. Dative of purpose. Pahanaya dhamman deseti. Now the eradication of what? Dukkasa. Dukkasa. It is written in genitive case. Normally it should be written in accusative case. But what has happened because of the pahana? It was written in genitive. This is called objective genitive or genitive which has the meaning of object. Eva rupassa dukkas. Imassa eva rupassa dukkassa pahana. So sorry. Eva rupassa, similar suffering. Imassa. So here it says, just give me 1 minute. Anyassa aho eva rupas etari maya anubhaviya manassa anyassa eva datikassa sakalassa vatta dukkassa pahanaya acchantang anupada nirodha dhammam katesi. So imassa means this suffering she is experiencing, and also whatever suffering that are similar to this. So this suffering and also the suffering that are similar, like not only the suffering of delivering, whatever suffering in the world, right? So all the suffering, the Buddha preached Dhamma for the eradication of all the suffering. So why did this become genitive? All these are the adjectives of dukkha, because eradication, this is an abstract noun. Pahana is the dative case, its purpose, it gives the purpose. Eradication, the abstract meaning. So the object of the abstract noun, abstract kitaka noun, can be written in accusative or dative. So here it's written in dative. So yo imassa eva rupassa dukkassa pahanaya dhamman deseti. Who preaches, the one who preaches for the eradication, dhamma, for the eradication of suffering similar to this and that, all types of sufferings. So Bhagava, that blessed one, so Bhagava is indeed a Samma Sambuddha. So we have to take the meaning first. The blessed one who preaches so such Dhamma for such purposes is indeed a Samma Sambuddha. Supatipanno vata tassa bhagavato savaka sangha. So these also someone can say Supatipanna is the blessed one savaka, or the blessed one savakas are Supatipanna. But here it seems very easy to understand because it's Supatipanna is like an adjective. So therefore, Tassa Bhagavato Savaka Sangho, the disciples, the disciple order or the group of disciples of that blessed one are indeed Supatipanna with double P normally. We normally recite Supatipanna, but in grammatically, philologically, it's Suppatipanna because the word comes from Sanskrit word is Supratipanna. Panna or Padna? Patna. Forgot it. Supatipad. How do you say Supatiprapta? Supatiprapta, right? Supatiprapta. Supatipanna become. Is it correct, Sally? Supatiprapta. Pratiprapta, I think. So because of this, pra, this has become double. Because of this pra, ra, so prati, because of this ra, it has become tha. That's why Suppatipanno. Suppatipanna. Right. Anyway, so then, yeah. So Savaka Sangho yo imassa eva rupassa dukkassa pahanaya patipanno. So the blessed one's disciples, Savaka Sangha, have already entered. Patipanno. Entered what? Pahanaya, for the eradication or the removal. They have already entered into a practice for the eradication of what? Again, dukkasa, eva rupasa, imasa. So suffering, this and those, such and such. Similar to this. Then susukam vata thang nibbana. Yattidhang eva rupang dukkang na sangvijjati. Nibbanang thang nibbanang vata susukang. That nibbana is indeed sukha is happiness. Susukha means it's a supreme happiness. Want to emphasize its highness. Susukang is indeed a very great happiness. We can say it is the ultimate happiness. Yattidhang eva rupang dukkang na sangvijjati. So yattidham means we take it as yattha plus idang. Idang is this. Idang eva rupang dukkang. This and similar sufferings. So yattidang. Susukam vatatang nibbana. Yattidang eva rupang dukkana. Indeed, it is the nibbana is the ultimate bliss. Where yatta idang eva rupang dukkang na sangvijjati. This or similar types of sufferings do not exist. Where the similar type of sufferings do not exist. That nirvana is indeed a wonderful bliss. Indeed a wonderful bliss. Yeah. So this was the how she contemplated. Yeah. So then we have two more paragraphs to explain, right? Yeah. So before that, we'll go into a discussion if there is anything to be said.
Bhante. I have a question about the imatsa eva rupassa dukkassa. So you translated as this suffering and the similar suffering. So it looks like that there should be a ja there, right? So that's how you translated it. But then I mean from the first look, what I see is that it says this such suffering.
This such suffering.
Yeah. So how do we know that is just refer to this, the suffering that she is experiencing, or that this suffering and similar suffering as well?
Yeah, we'll go to the Samma Sambuddho. Where is that? Samikang? Where is Samikang? Right. Oh, it's quite down. Samma Sambuddho. Right. Here is the one. Samma Sambuddho Vatati Tesang Vitakkanang Pavatti Karana Dasana. So it explains Pavatti Karana, the reasons for those vitakkas to occur, thoughts. Tasatto, the meaning of it. Yo Bhagyavantadihi Karanehi Bhagava Lokanato Samma Aviparitang Samang Sayameva Sabbadamme Aho Vata Buddho. So it says that Buddha was a fully enlightened one, right? So we're not going to explain that. So Bhagava Evarupassa. So that's best one. Bhagava Evarupassa. Etarahi Maya Anubhavitabba Manassa Anyassa cha Evan Jatikassa Sakalassa Vattadukkassa. So this is the analyze part we should analyze. Evarupassa. So Bhagava, that blessed one. Evarupassa etrai maya anubhavi manas dukkassa. Anubhava manas. That is one part. Evarupassa etrai maya anubhavi manas. So the similar sufferings that are experienced by myself, maya anubhavi manasa. So some sufferings that I experience, similar sufferings that I experience, similar sufferings similar to what I experience now. Anyassacha evan jatikassa, and also to all the other types of sufferings similar to that. Anyassa evan jatikas. So here similarity in terms of suffering. So here eva rupassa etarahi maya anubhavi manasa. So sufferings that are like what I'm been experiencing here, and also whatever other sufferings, types of suffering, sakalasya vatta dukkasya pahanaya acchantang anuppad nirodhaya dhammam katesi. So he preaches dhamma for the eradication of all these suffering. So then it seems so Bhagava, where the imassa comes. Imassa is saying, because etarahi maya anubhavi manasa, the suffering that I have been experienced by me at this moment. So she is referring to this suffering. So that's why imassa eva rupas. So then as you said, imassa eva rupas means this such. How did you translate it?
This such suffering, Bhante.
So is it this such? Yeah. So this such sufferings. Imassa eva rupassa, we have to translate this such sufferings. And then it also indicates anyassacha evan jatikasa sakalassa vatta dukkasa. So according to the commentary, also we include suffering that are similar to this. So it seems like now imassa eva rupassa dukkasa. So imassa eva rupassa is a one idea. It's like this suffering, this such sufferings, eva rupassa etarahi maya anubhavi, and also without imassa, the idea of eva rupassa is again taken, and also all the other sufferings that are similar to this. So it seems like the meaning is taken according to, if we go in like grammatically analyze it, we have imassa eva rupassa dukkassa pahanaya. So it seems like imassa eva rupassa dukkassa and eva rupassa anyassa eva rupassa dukkassa pahanaya. Both are connected with pahanaya. So imassa, why we say put eva rupassa here? Because the commentary says, so Bhagava eva rupassa etarahi maya anubhavi manasa. So sufferings that are so imassa is understood by this etarahi. Now what I have been experienced by me at the moment. Imassa eva rupassa dukkassa. Such similar sufferings. And then also they want to emphasize the eva rupassa, because evan jatikassa and eva rupassa are similar. Eva rupassa and evan jatikassa. That's why I just put the same name. So then anyassa eva rupassa. So it means, so there is no word called anyassa in the commentary, in the text. So what has happened, this eva rupassa is giving like, so we can say this suffering and similar sufferings. That's why John took the part, this suffering and similar other sufferings. Or we can say, if we go accordingly, such similar sufferings and also other similar sufferings other than this. So that's why I went into such a translation.
So Bhante, but okay, so we know this because of the commentary, but let's say it, let's say the rules of translation. When we see the imassa eva rupassa dukkassa, is it possible for us to translate it this way? Because, like I said, that someone may argue that there is no ja. How can you separate those two words?
Yeah, the necessity of cha, then we have to analyze this, whether it is always necessary in such cases. Personally, I felt when I was reading imassa eva rupassa dukkassa, so before going into the commentary, my initial thought was, so when she say eva rupassa, she was referring to some other types of suffering, like similar ones, other than this. So then a confusion came into me. How do we translate imassa and eva rupassa? So so my initial thought was imassa dukkassa eva rupassa dukkassa. So that is my initial translation, because in such cases, what I have gone through is cha is not a must in such cases. Sometimes we can have some connections without cha, like this. Yeah, it seems normally the cha will come, but I think I have gone through some such examples that even without the cha, they would take both the meanings separately.
Yeah, I'm bringing this up because, in fact, in the business of translation, this problem has been encountered, because someone say that if we translate it in the imasa ewa warupasa dukkasa, as in the commentary, then they said that what is the point, the Pāḷi, what is the mula? So you just translate everything according to the commentary. So what's the point of commentary? She said that you just leave it like in the Pāḷi, and then when you translate commentary, then you give the translation to the commentary. So that's what
okay. Okay. Then the problem comes. It's a good argument. Now, is it possible, like when now this is the method in Pāḷi. Now we know that Pāļi can be like, if you put this now, these similar sufferings, if you put it in English, there is no way that the reader can get that meaning, right? What the commentary said, because now when I was initially, according to based on my knowledge, when I was reading, I initially thought this is two words connected with the dukkha separately. That was my initial thought. So this thought was possible because of the Pāļi. The Pāļi has such quality of translating, such characteristics. But when you put it into English directly, is it possible now? Doesn't it completely prevents the reader from going into other alternatives? Like when even though there's no cha, just based on Pāļi, looking into this imassa and evarupassa, which are not related to each other, very not much related, I was guessing that maybe this is how it should be taken, and in the commentary also follows the same way. So now if we put this into English, so doesn't it completely prevent such a possibility?
Yes, I mean, so the question comes to this is go back to the word cha. This the word cha is important, because sometimes it's really confusing, because if we stick to the ideology saying that that you need to have that in order to translate it that way. Otherwise, someone look into this and say that both of the word imasa and ewarupasa modifies the word dukkasa, and dukkasa is singular in this case. So how can you translate it as plural?
Yeah, it's yeah, it's a difficult thing to answer. Yeah. It's so then at least we have to put it in a footnote and explain, right? Something like that.
Yes, definitely. Yes. That's what I would do. But then, because so I said earlier that somebody said that you have to stick to the Pāļi, and then you can do whatever else you want later. You can give your footnotes and explanation according to the commentary. You have to understand it this way or that way. But they said that when you translate it directly from Pāļi, then are we allowed to do that?
No, the problem, what my thought was that I know what she has said, whoever said it makes sense. But the thing is, when we go into Pāli, we know that this is how the Pāli's meaning is taken. So it's not like we are leaving the Pāli as it is. Now, according to the tradition, if we stick to the tradition, this is how the meaning of this word is translated. So this is not something else. This is the meaning. Now, this is how it should be translated. Someone can also say that. So, like if we just put these words as it is, so it doesn't give the full meaning of the Buddha. So if traditionally we argue, so then we can also say putting this in in this kind of a manner is the proper translation. It's like not the Pāli, even though it is mentioned here in Pāli words, but if you put it into a completely different language, we have to give the translation. So that's what I would prefer to say. It's like if we just put that words into just translating the words, that is not going to give the proper translation, I would call.
Yeah, it's just because somebody argued that it is the Buddha's word, so each word is important. So it's like there is a ja there, so you have to translate the word ja. You cannot skip it. And then they say that here you don't have the ja, but in the translation you add a ja in. So that's
So
that's kind of argument.
in that case, for example, in that case, there are some nipata matta in Pali, right? Nipata matta. So how do they translate that? Like sometimes the cha has no meaning, sometimes the api has no meaning. So are they still going to put it into the word and say that and has no meaning?
Yeah, that's the argument. Yes, but
so
and the core maybe core.
Yeah, some some words don't have any meaning in the Pali. So, but the Buddha has mentioned the word. So, are we going to just translate into directly English and say that there it has no meaning? Then it will. I think it will lead for more confusion, right?
Yeah.
So, I understand what the argument of this part, but that is like they have a very strict distinction. This is the Buddha's word, this is the commentator's word. So when we come into the tradition, this is how the Buddha's word has to be interpreted. So for example, this seems like if someone thinks, this is a very rough argument, but this is how I would normally say in classes in Sinhalese. Like if someone now, for example, this is the commentary, and if I translate this sentence in this way and write it in that manner, this is how the Theravadians translate this sentence. But if someone sticks that, okay, this should not be taken, only this should be addressed, this should be put into in English as according to the words, and that is her or his translation. So that is the his or her method of translation, and this is the method of the Theravada translation. So if someone tries to distinguish the commentary from the canon completely and say, when we are translating, we have to just put the words into as it was mentioned in the Buddha in the sutta, that is her or his method of translation, and that's not the Theravadian way of translation. So keeping the Pali in its original form as it was preserved is something, but when we put something into another language, I think we have to go into a one method of translation, and then we have to introduce why this kind of methods were adapted, because otherwise there can be lots of complications when we are going to just to put the words as they are into this thing. Like for instance, if we say mulha gabba, for instance, mulha means the one who is deluded, right? So Mula Gabba means normally some would translate Gabba, a womb who is deluded or with moha or something like that. So, but we know that the Mula Gabba is a complicated womb that is difficult to be delivered. Like there are some complications and so forth. So I personally think like then we like someone putting it into just into another language is a strict method adapted by them And it's so the Theravadians, whether it's correct or wrong, the Theravada tradition would follow such a method. So then I feel like it's a matter of adapting which method we are going to use for the translation.
Oh, okay, Bhante. This is just the argument that that
Yeah,
has
I understand.
been going on. Yes, yeah.
It's a very huge argument going on. So that's why I to avoid this confusion, because it's very difficult to discuss on this matter, because some would say that we are the Theravadians, like including how I explained, they would say you are sticking too much to the commentary, and some would say go to the sutta and try to understand the sutta by itself. So it's very difficult to convince each other. That's the problem. So the traditionalists would have their own opinion, the rational thoughts would have their own opinion. So what I found was it is very difficult to decide. So what I did was, personally, my approach was to clearly say that this is a one type of a tradition, the Theravada tradition, and this is how they do it. So someone else can have their own ways of translating and own ways of interpreting in Pāli, but whether correct or wrong, this is how the Theravadians have adapted. So after studying the Theravadian, one can refute it or say it's not very applicable. That's a different case. But I happen to stick to the my personal practice is somewhat what I believe. But whether I accept all what is mentioned or not is something else. But when I'm explaining the teachings, I stick to the just how the tradition explains, whether it is correct or wrong. So that made me very it gave me such easiness, because I'm not responsible with if the tradition is correct or wrong. That's a different case. But this is how they have translated. So yeah, it's so personally it's a very ongoing argument on this matter to get rid of this conflict. My personal approach was to stick to the tradition, not to say that it is correct, but to say that this is how the Theravada tradition would explain the Buddha's intention.
So Bhante, so let's go back to this. So here we have a Sangwanitapa and Sangwanana, right?
Right.
So you said that the Sangwanitapa, the imasa is explained as the etarahi.
It means the imasa idea can be found in etarahi. What I mean, yeah.
And then so where is the but then in that, so we have two things in the commentary here. We have ewarupasa etarahi, and then we have anyasa ewang jatikasa, right? So the so imasa is explained as the ewarupasa etarahi. And then the ewarupasa in the Pāli is explained as the anyasa ewang jatikasa.
No. What I mean was imassa eva rupassa together is explained here, both, and then again separately this word is again explained. So evarupa has two. It's evarupa is acting as two words here.
Okay.
It's what I personally see is rupassa, something like that. Imassa evarupassa, evarupassa.
Okay.
So this is the first part. Yeah, like this.
I see. Okay. Thank you, Bhante.
Okay. Yeah. Any questions on what we have discussed so far?
Bhante, so like the imassa ewa rupasa, the first part is that this kind of suffering, specific suffering, and then the second ewa rupasa is like the other, like the similar one, Bhante. So is it like that, Bhante?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Similar means in terms of being a suffering.
Oh, okay, Bhante. So the first evarupasa is like for addressing specific kind of suffering also, Bhante.
Yeah. This suffering and specific. Evarupasa etrahi maya anubhavitabba manasa anyas manasa.
Why is it like it should have the evarupasa in the first one, Bhante? Isn't it enough like just the imasa, Bhante?
Yeah, it's
like for me it seems like it comes twice, so it's not it's redundant, Bhante. It's not necessary, Bhante.
Like imassa evarupasa. That's the like with my gut, like if there was no commentary, I would go in the way you said. Imassa refers to this and evarupasa refers to all the other. But as the commentary was explaining, Bhagava evarupasa etrahi maya anubhavitabbassa anyassa chevan jatikassa sakalassa vakta dukkassa pahanaya. So that is, as you said, I understand, like it would have been done. Imassa and evarupasa would be enough. Imassa maya anubhavitabba manassa evarupasa cha anyassa dukkha. So this suffering and all the other. So here what has happened, for instance, if it a suffering of delivering, right? Suffering in delivering. Then plus all the other sufferings. So that is what, if we say this is imassa, then this is evarupasa.
Yes, Bhante.
Evarupasa anyasa, right? Whatever, right? Then what here what I understand when reading the commentary, imassa evarupasa means all this suffering individual. This is imassa. Okay. Okay. Then all sufferings related to delivering and eva rupasa, all the other types of suffering. So if we say imassa only, this suffering in delivering, what she is experiencing at the moment, then all the everyone else's sufferings related to birth also include, right, or suffering of delivering other than this and all the other suffering. So here suffering of delivery, in this imassa evarupasa, all suffering, it means including this and everyone else's suffering. So imassa evarupasa means suffering similar to what I am experiencing now. It means all the suffering related to delivering and whatever, like suffering of hitting something, getting killed, or some whatever, all the other. But here we say imassa only this particular suffering she's explaining. Then evarupasa means all other sufferings, including the suffering of delivering experienced by others and also remaining sufferings. Did you see a difference here?
I'm still a little bit confused, Bhante, but I think I will ponder this upon later, Bhante. Maybe I will understand it, Bhante.
No, what I mean is, what I see when we analyze this sentence, if we take only imassa, she is referring to the suffering that she is experiencing at the moment. Then evarupasa means other people also may experience such suffering. There are certain sufferings related to suffering related to this delivering, whatever. So all the other sufferings other than this suffering, this particular suffering, and the remaining other types of sufferings. All are included in this. But when we say imassa eva rupassa, all sufferings related to suffering, including this particular suffering and whatever other sufferings. So maybe it's too much of analysis, but I see such kind of a distinction is possible.
So is it like maybe like
I'm
it's
not saying
just...
what you are saying is, I'm not saying what you are saying is not necessary. I still feel it redundant because even this can cover the entire thing. And this also both in the end covers the entire range of suffering. So if we say imassa and eva rupassa separately, and also as Dr. Ryan said, imassacha eva rupassacha, if you put the cha, it can be very clearly mentioned. But in the end, they cover the entire thing. So I don't refute the idea that it is redundant.
Okay, Bhante.
Well, but I mean, Bhante, so according to the commentary, then I think we should follow the second
this one, right?
Second way, yes, because if we just separate, Itmasa and Ewarupasa completely, then it doesn't match the commentary.
Yeah. Yes. So what the brother Robin is asking, isn't this redundant? So what I was analyzing, if this is redundant, this would be the meaning.
Right. Yes.
But commentary says this, right? So, yeah. But if his argument objectively, if he's asking, can't this type of thing cover the entire thing? I think yes, still can. But if you follow the commentary, we have to go into this. But if someone explains it with the only eva rupa in one place, still they can cover the entire range of suffering.
Yes, definitely. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, Bhante. Thank you, Bhante.
Sadhu. Yeah, it was nice to have such analysis on this. Any other things?
Good morning, Bhante.
Good morning, Sally. Yeah.
Yes. Sally, may I ask, Bhante,
Yeah.
may I ask you one
Sure.
the words about Kammaca Vatehi?
Yeah.
Maybe in commentary. Yeah. Kammaca Vatehi. So Kammaca is produced by Kamma. So Vatehi is, I don't understand about the Vatehi's meaning here.
Where is it? Sorry. Can anyone help me?
I think so.
Here. Okay, right.
Yes, yeah.
Right. Kammaja Vate.
Yes.
Right. So Kammaja is produced by Kamma. Then Vata. You mean Vata?
Vata, what's meaning here, Bhante?
Vata is air. Air element. Vayu, Vata, same.
So it means the elements which is produced by Kamma?
Air element.
Yeah.
So normally we are you aware like Kammaja Tejo, this word?
Yes, Bhante.
Yes, Bhante.
Produced by Kamma, right? Then Kammaja Vayo. If someone say like this, can you understand this?
Yes.
Air element, right? Tejo is heat element, right? Air element. Produced by Kamma. Then Kammaja Vayo and Kammaja Vata is identical.
Yeah.
Because Vayo and Vata sometimes, not always.
Oh,
Vayo,
thank you so much, Bhante. Okay, very good.
What's the point?
Thank you so much. Very good. Yeah.
Vayo and Vata are identical. Some cases, not always. So problem is whether this Kammaja Vata produced by the child or produced by the mother's Kamma. What do you think on this? I'd like to have your insights. Anyone, please.
So Bhante, is there like a the story about what happened to the child, what he did in the past. It's the reason why he's in the womb for 7 days.
Yeah, okay, right.
There is a reason for that, right? I don't remember. So if there
surrounding and preventing people from coming in and going out from a city.
yes. So if that's the case, then I would say that it belongs to the child.
Okay. No, then the problem comes, Dr. Ryan. Now it says now this word comes in many places. Every womb is delivered with Kammajavata. There is a explanation in the Theravada, like every time when we get delivered, Kammajavata chalinsu. If you can find this word in many places, right? Kammajavata chalinsu. If you search this word. So this can be found in any delivery.
I see. But then, so can we say that this, of course, but does that mean that it belongs to the child as well? Because there is a child in that delivery. So it belongs to the child. But according to, in this particular case, because of his karma, so that's why it lasted for 7 days.
Yes. And also in this case, we also have to keep in mind the mother also was involved in the karma.
Right,
Both.
right. Yeah, of course. Yes, yes.
Right. Yeah. Now I will bring this into a general context. Now it says in the Theravadians that every womb is delivered with help of Kammajavata. So what do you think? Like this Kammajavata should be child's or should be the mother's? I'm also thinking on this. I feels like to give it to the child, but the word comes because we cannot have two, like mother's kammaja will not affect child, right? Child's kamma not with their mother. So whose kamma is producing this?
Bhante, do we have any information about the mother? Did she do anything bad in the past?
You mean in this incidents?
Yeah.
In this, yeah. She was the one who instructed to, because she was the one who. Now it happened like the child wanted to prevent, and mother was inside the city, and he prevented the city for 7 years. Prevented means covered, and then the mother said, but the people were going out from small doors, not only the main doors. Only the main doors were stopped. Then she said, if you don't prevent the 7 doors, the minor doors, you are not going to capture the city. So then he prevented closed the doors, small doors for 7 days. And then the people killed their own king and gave the kingdom to the arriving king.
Interesting.
both. It says, if you read the commentary, you find that both were suffering because of this.
So, Bhante, here, Sattavasāni, 7 years or 7 days?
Sattavasāni is years, Satta Aha is 7 days. 7 years and 7 days.
Sorry, because I couldn't hear. My connection is very poor.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, Sattahang, Sattavasāni, you can see both, right? So she had to Katang Sattavasāni Gabbavāsa Dukkang. Why he had 7 years of suffering in the womb. Sattahang Moola Gabba Vipatti, 7 days Moola Gabba. Matuchassapi. Even the mother, Sotapannaya, Arya Savikaya, Tata, Dukkanu Bhavanan Jatanti. Even the mother had to suffer during that process. So both of them were involved in a bad act of preventing people from coming out. So anyway, please think about this and would like to know your insights. According to the, if you search this word, Kammajavata, and also please keep in mind, this is always comes in plural form, Kammajavata. It's very common in commentary literature. Kammajavata, it never comes in singular form. It never comes in singular form. So it says even the Bodhisattva, when he is going to, it says, okay, I'll take a very good example. Nikkamana Kale, this is about the Bodhisattva. Nikkamana Kale, Nesang. Nesang. This is Nesang is Bodhisattanang, about the plural. Kammajavata, Uddapade, Uddampade, Adosire, Katva, Kipitung, Na, Sakkonti. So this is what happens to the Bodhisattvas. When they are getting out of the womb, Kammajavata, Uddampade Adosire Katva Kipitung na Sakkonti. So Nesang Kammajavata. It seems like the Kammajavata of Bodhisattvas, right? Isn't it?
Yes, right? Yes.
Seems like, right? So
yes,
this is the
yes.
previous sentence. This is the previous sentence. Tehi Matu Kuchisming Patisanding Ganhati Patisanding Ganhantapi Jananti. They know when they are getting the Patisandhi in the mother's womb. Tatha Vasantapi Jananti. While they are living there, also they know. Nikkamana Kale, why at the moment of getting out, Nesang Kammajavata, Uddampade Adosire Katva Kiputuna Sakkonti. Their Kammajavata is not capable to make their head down and legs up. So it seems like, right? Nesang Kammajavata. I also was thinking on this when I was reading the commentary. Well, whose Kammajavata is this? Seems like we can come into a conclusion, right? This Kammajavata belongs to the child.
Yes, I would say so. Yeah.
Yeah, it has to be, right? Because this is his birth in the end, right? His deliverance. He's going to get birth from the mother's womb.
Well, I mean, so also it's well, it is masculine, right? Nesang.
Yeah, Nesang, masculine.
Yeah, Nesang is masculine. Yeah.
Okay, so then any other things to be discussed so far that we have discussed? Okay, so then we'll go to the Pāļi again, because we did 2 more paragraphs. Atako Suppavāsā Kolya Dhita Samikang Amantesi. Then the blessed Suppavāsā, the daughter of Kolyans, called upon his husband. Ehi Twang Ayaputta. Ayaputta is a way of addressing higher ones, especially the servants addressing the masters, and also the wife addressing his husband. Then sometimes it can be addressing higher clansmen. Yena Bhagava Tenupasankama. Approach the Buddha. Upasankamitva Mama Vachanena Bhagavato Pade Sirasa Vandahi. So having approached, pay respect to the Buddha, pay respect at the feet of the Buddha with your head. Sirasa is instrumental. Pay the respect to the feet, at the feet. Sirasa with the head. This is actually accusative plural, but even in English we say pay respect at the feet. Bhagavato Pade, of the Blessed One, feet, with my word, Mama Vachanena. Then Appa Bhadang, Appa Tankang, Lahuttanang, Balang, Pasu Viharam Pucha. Ask these questions. What are these? Appa Bhadang, Appa Tankang, Lahuttanang, Balang, Pasu Viharam. We have 5 words. They are very important, which are very, very commonly used in this context. Pasu Viharang, the comfortable abiding, living. Balang is the strength. Then we come Lahuttanang. Lahuttana means like uttana, it's standing or moving here and there. Lahu means swiftly, like his body is now, if someone is sick, we feel like our body is very heavy. It's very difficult for us to move. But when we are healthier, we can easily move our limbs and we can change our postures very quickly. So that swiftness, that softness, lightness, actually the better to say lightness, is lahuttanang, easy to stand up and move quickly. Then we have appa tankang and appa bhada. Abhada and atanka are both related to sickness. So there are various ways of interpreting. This is abhada is this type of sickness, atanka is this type of sickness. So the commentators have given few meanings on this, right? So abhada and atanka. So appa bhada, appa tanka, it's like normally we say the less sickness, or having less sickness or less problems in the body. So, but we go to the commentary here. We'll go to the commentary. So something that also need to analyze in this regard would be some useful. So it says, if you go to this commentary is very long. I don't know how to. What is there? Can anyone help me? Yeah, Samma Sambuddho, after Samma Sambuddho. Samika, yeah. So here, appa bada tankadisu, right? So it gives a long explanation on this. We can normally we can understand what the idea is, but there is some grammatical point that is very useful, I feel. Appa bada atankadisu abhadoti visabhaga vedana vuchati. The suffering which is visabhaga, which is like normally say visabhaga, we have vi and sa. Sabhaga means they have a similarity. Visabhaga means also they have dissimilarity, like they are not the same. So abhadoti visabhaga vedana vuchanti. So it seems like they are talking about some kind of a painful, like not supportive feeling for the body. Ya ekadese uppajjitva sakalang sarirang ayapattang abanditva vya ganhanti. It suffers the suffering the entire body, having a reason in some place. Atankoti kicha jivitaka rogo. Atanka means the sickness that makes our life very difficult to be lived. Atava yape tabba rogo atanko. Yape tabba rogo atanko itaro abhado. So whatever sickness that needs us to get support from others is like we need yapeti. We have to yapeti. Yapeti is normally we translate yapeti as nourishes, keeps up, supports one's life. Yape tabba rogo. Seems like yape tabba roga means the sickness. When we have certain sickness, we have to always support our lives, keep our body in good condition. Seems like that. It's difficult for me. It's difficult to give an exact translation. Remaining abhada. Kuddako wa rogo atanko. The small roga is atanka. Balava rogo abhado. The very serious sickness is abhada. Kechipana, some says ajjatta samuttano abhado. Sickness that arose within ourselves is abhada. Bahidda samuttano atako. Because of the rain or weather conditions, whatever sickness that occurs because of due to external effort, external reasons is atanka. Vadanti. Tadubayasapi abhavam puchati vudanti. abhavam pucchati vadanti. So tadubhayasapi, of both these, abhavam pucchati vadanti. This is the point that I wanted to emphasize here, because when I was reading, I also wanted to know that abhada is normally, appabhada means less sickness. So because our body is always afflicted by sickness all the time, most of the times. So normally we go into, but what I found was, but I was a little bit it was new to me also. Abhavang pucchati. Tassuba ubayasapi abhavam pucchati iti vadati. So they say, some says, they, sorry, not some say, she is telling, ask the absence of such sickness, absence of such sickness. So the thought that comes to me is, now we have appabhada, appa plus abhada, then we come into explanation as appabhada, then we appa atanka is called appa tanka. So now this appa normally we translate as less or low, and there is another translation called no, like how to say, none, absence. So now according to, when we say, go into the commentary, we find he's asking, so we can have, if we say less abhada, less sickness, or no sickness. Now when we go into Vinaya, we find appasaddu. Appasaddu antaragare gamisami. Appasaddu means one who makes a sound, one who makes a certain sound. So now this was interpreted in Vinaya. Appasaddu means appo, like appasadda. So appasadda we normally say in Vinaya is translated as making less noise. Making less noise, not no noise. Because it is not possible monks could walk without making any noise, because we have to talk sometimes. So the commentators give an explanation. If you talk while going into the village or sitting in the village, your voice should be heard this much. If that voice can be heard from beyond a certain range, then you are say mahasaddu. So opposite of appasadda is mahasadda. Right? So mahasadda, opposite of appasadda is mahasadda. Mahasadda. So they say if the specific range, your voice can be heard beyond that range, this is called, you are called mahasadda. So be appasadda, it is a rule in Sekya. You can find this in Vinaya. Appasaddu antaragare gamissamiti nisidissamiti sikka karaniya. But when we come into appabhada and appatanka, we find, according to the commentary, he is asking about abhava. So abhava, still we can say like just it's relatively how are we, this is asking like how are you doing, are you healthy, is there any sickness or something like that. This is the normal rough idea what they want to express. Then this one suggests that they are asked, they are telling about no sickness. Then another question comes. Now appasaddha means this is a bahubbihi samasa. Bahubbihi samasa. Bahubbihi samasa means the one who makes a less noise. It's not the less noise. Appasaddo antaragare gamissami. This is how the rule comes. Appasaddo antaragare gamissamiti. So we normally add this as ahang antaragar, appasaddo antaragare gamissamiti sikka karaniya. I train myself that I will go with less noise in the village. So appasadda is I, the monk himself. Then we go into the word appabhada. Appabhada can, as we said, normally these kind of words can have two meanings, like Kammadāre samasa. Appabhada. Normally we say less or minor sickness, less appu abadu. We can say a person with less sickness. And if we go into the what the commentary is suggesting, a person without any sickness, right? Any sickness. The absence, appabhada. Also we can say, if you take it as absence here, a Kammadāre samasa can be also said absence of sickness. This is just an idea, not just a possibility, what I'm saying. So these are the possible ways. So these are Kammadāraya. These last two are Bahubihi. This seems Bahubihi, right? So Appabhadam Pucca, Lahuttanam Appa Tankam Pucca, Balam Pucca, ask about the strength. That is Lahuttanam, ask about the lightness of the body. Pāsuvihāra, ask about the comfort. So all the remaining three are very easy to understand. But Appabhadam, so what does it mean? Is it just asking about the sickness or asking about Buddha, whether he is sick or not, right? Whether he is sick or not. So it says Appabhava tasapi abhavang pucchati, abhavang. It seems like the absence. So the person with less sickness or person without any sickness. So we'll go into this explanation based on the commentary. So person without any sickness, right? So we cannot say if it now it should be referring to the Buddha himself. Now the one goes and asks, is it like you go and ask the Buddha a person who is without sickness? So the question should be, ask his nature of being without sickness. So it seems like what the commentary is suggesting is appabhadhatam, appabhadhatha, the nature of being without sickness or healthy. So then seems like this is what I feel when I'm analyzing. So what has happened, and we already found in one place, sometimes this ta suffix, the idea of ta suffix, can be removed. It, like the word appabhada, I think we found in 2 or 3 suttas ago. The word is appabhada, is a noun. Then ta suffix gives its abstract meaning, but sometimes we drop it. But the meaning should be taken as that, right? So this is something that I would like to share and also would like to discuss on this matter. Because appa normally, the conclusion of this explanation in nutshell, appa normally refers to less, but at the sometimes it can be referred as no, absence. But when you call in appasaddha and so forth, this is referring to less noise, low, like not much noise. Opposite is mahasaddha. So appabhada is the absence. If we take it as absence of, mahabhada means one who has greater sickness, or appabhada can be a minor sickness also. Minor sickness, or we can say one who has less sickness, that is also possible, a possible alternation, and then no sickness. So if we take it into just the Kammadāraya, we have minor sickness and the absence of sickness, appabhada. Then a person with less sickness and person without any sickness. Or then the question comes, if we can take this directly, right? Then if we take the person with less sickness or person without any sickness, we have to go to its nature with ta suffix and then remove that ta suffix. Or we can, instead of going in this long path, we can just stick to appa means absence. So appa bada means absence of sickness, and just ask it, because absence of sickness itself is a abstract meaning, like the absence itself. So either we go into this explanation. Yeah, would like to know your comments on this. Yeah.
It's kind of interesting, Bhante. I mean,
Okay.
I really like the idea of the Buddha that doesn't have those two, so he's free of any sickness.
You mean this second one?
Yes.
Okay.
Because here it's Appa one, so he doesn't have those. He doesn't have those things.
Mm-hmm. Right. How about this alternation? Is it possible?
So okay, so here, but the word Appa, right? Appa
Right.
here in the dictionary it says little, right?
Little, yeah.
Little, and I think maybe we had a little discussion about this before. Little, a little, few, and a few. So when you say little, so little is for uncountable. Little and a little is for uncountable, and few and a few is for countable. So here we can say sickness is uncountable, right? So when we say that a person has a little sickness, which means
Okay.
he is sick, but it's not much.
Okay,
Right?
right.
But
right.
when you say he is little sick,
Okay.
little but not a little, this means he's free, he's very healthy.
Right. So yes, it's another insight. So please, can you? I want to write it down because it doesn't go into my mind directly. Okay. Little sickness. First one is little.
Yes, little sick. Where he's little sick.
Okay.
He's little sick means he's not sick at all. He's healthy.
Okay. It means he is not sick at all. Okay. It means he's healthy.
Yeah. But when you say he is a little sick, that means he is, but not much.
He
is a little sick.
Okay. Okay. Just the A has made the difference, right?
Yes.
So how do you say he is?
He is sick, but just a little, not much.
Not serious.
Right, not serious.
Seriously, right. Okay. Okay. Okay, this is very So we can also say that similar kind of meaning is found here in Appa. If we go to the commentary explanation, so maybe the commentary want to say this was the idea.
Yeah, I maybe, yes.
So because he's little sick means he's not sick at all, he's healthy. So it's a very nice insight. Like even though in English the word little has, now if I say in English perspective, is it correct that if I say in this sense little means no?
Yeah, it has a negative meaning, but it negates whatever it modifies.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, little negates what it modifies. So when we say appa negates what it modifies sometimes, right?
Yeah, I would say so, yes.
Both are sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Okay, then now it's there is a way to think. Okay, thank you for this. Yeah.
But
So
I like
that,
sure. Sorry, Bhante.
This one, okay.
Yes, I really like that one because it's about what's it is free of that. He doesn't have that. So that is his nature. His nature is free of any disease or anything. Yes.
But according to this, now another one to clarify, because I want to have more clarity on this. So now according to this approach, if we take, so is this meaning possible? What do you think?
Yes, sure. Yes, I think we can have that meaning. Yes.
Okay. How about others? Oh, it's already 10:10 for Myanmar. Sorry. Just one thought. How about others? We can have if we can have this, lead this discussion for the next week also, Friday.
Hello, Bhante.
Yeah.
So for the word ada, here, can it be translated as without hindrance?
Which one, Sally?
Abada.
Abada. Without hindrance, you mean?
Yeah. Can it be translated like that?
You mean the mental hindrances, nivarana? Is it?
Yeah, because I saw the English translation without hindrance.
The word hindrance, is
No,
it
I
only...
think it's referred to the mental sickness.
Really? Because Buddha doesn't have such thing, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah, that's why.
I think it is when we ask from the Buddha, I think we should not, it shouldn't have been asked, right? How is your mental health? Right? Buddha is fully enlightened. So I think, but if we ask for Putujana, Abhada, we have Kaika and Manasika, physical and mental. Yes, in that case, we can get such a meaning, but I don't know whether they intended such a thing in the beginning. But as you said, if you're asking for a Putujana, yes, we can use the word hindrance for that. But for the Buddha, I prefer not to use that.
Yeah, thank you, Bhante.
It makes sense, right? But I'm not saying it is for Putujana, it should be used, but because we have to find in the commentary whether the Abada, this in this case, Appa Bada, Appa Tanka, has it been used for hindrances? We have to search for that. But if we think deeply in terms of Abhidhamma, yes, mental Abada is hindrances. We can call it.
Yeah, thank you, Bhante.
Okay.
Hello, Bhante.
Yes. So
Yes.
isn't it late for you in Myanmar? So I don't know whether shall I call it a day? I'm sorry for that because some students are in Myanmar, right? Some participate in Myanmar.
Yes, Bhante.
So you need to go for lunch, right?
Yes, Bhante.
So Sally, can you ask the question next Friday?
Yes, Bhante. Yes.
Okay, because you need to go for lunch, right? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, right then. Wish you all the best. Thank you very much for joining.
Thank you very much, Bhante. Sadhu, sadhu,
Thank you
sadhu.
very much, Bhante. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.